I stand on 26 bones in my feet. Does your hey why hey come correct with me? Shin the sound with fire touch water then 300 men slain by the movement of the wind 360 degrees, so let's begin. By the bend of the knee, Saturn fits his end. With two femurs crossed with a skull, they're closing in. It's either man or beast who is folding. The young chipper, Yom Kippur, knows a holy of holies lies behind the zipper. The sanctuary adorned in statuaries, the sacred bone where the vibrations can vary. The song of the spine if played wrong is scary, can prevent Adam Catman from reaching Mount Airy. Next to Mayberry, the Hiram high head, that's Aries. A ram in the bush, give that script a second look. 7 vertebrae from the neck got you hooked. That's Taurus when the great word is formed in the throat of Horus. So ancient hymnals can be sung in chorus. All I have heard of substance is the middle. The nose, mouth, neck, heart, phallus, front and central. The womb for the woman is the portal with placental. The occult anatomy of man, monumental. That's spiritual, physical, and mental. When they align, best believe not accidental. The mind oriental, chalkwood carry essentials. The saying on the word that exits through the dentals. The only savior that the adult soul knows is the burning bush within which the hardest unfroze. Orthol, the southpaw meets on the level. Leaves on the silently disclose or get disheveled. My mind lit like a rollie with diamond bezel. The word, the word, the word, the word, the word. Yeah, yeah. Flirt with the future is as close as my shirt. Better yet, my skin, microorganisms at work. Every cell is a light body, a fallen angel. And every angle is a light that is quantum entangled. Every breath contains fire, air, and water. While the body is the earth, they place it in order. So-called elites can get with this, my sons and daughters. I'm their father and they know it. They know it. My body intact and I'm immortal. That's a proven fact, yeah. Complete, and there is no lack. Higher top Mount Ararat with a dish dashy on like I'm Yasser Arafat. But this ain't PLO, it's that God flow. The fire is hidden from the profane to know the occult anatomy of man, the light is shown. The occult anatomy of man, the light is shown. Yeah, the occult anatomy of man, the light is shown. The occult anatomy of man, the light is shown. The divine is always knowing, but for it to know itself, it allows its energy to flow through cycles of original knowing and ignorance. The knowing is the rise, and the ignorance is the fall. We are in a time of divine gnosis re-emerging. The all is again remembering who and what it is. The current dominant hierarchy has been dependent and fed upon the ignorance of man. But now they are afraid because the end of their cycle approaches, the end of the dominance hierarchy. Yo, somebody must get stepped upon for me to squeeze my corns in these Allen Edmonds. Patent leather with the satin comma bond. James Bond aura, accent from across the pond. Parsimonious, the bread quite frugal. That's what keep the cupboard full. There's chips in my bugle. The coffee spill ridiculous. The peacoat meticulous. A packer on the collar, glow on the pinky and wrist. Davidoff cigar, no smoke in the dubbar. The king with 2 eagle heads, a palm like I'm Jabbar. Kareem is a Kareem through the city like a dream. The peasants pay me homage like I'm Jesus on the scene. I'm clean, but in the inside I'm dirty. Responsible for taking out a whole country by the age of 30. That was like work, no blood on my shirt. Now at night I can't sleep, cause with Beelzebub I flirt. He pays well, but in the end I get jerked. My woman don't respect me, she's with me for the power. Inhale a block of sour just to pass miserable hours while I medicate my pain locked away in glass towers. Dominant. hierarchy, bourgeoisie, oligarchy. The art of being a failed copy of a carbon copy. Illuminated still lack the light of a Carminati. The plot is sloppy, still I press on. Without the scepter in my hand, I might get stepped on. The breastplate that my crest on, I know belong to the man the sun rests on. Dominance, hierarchy, bourgeoisie, oligarchy. Kleptomania fuels my rage, I'm cocky. While underneath, ironically, I feel oddly estranged from nature. Netta's yes sir. If Gaia is a broad, then I'm upset with her. She's left me in the mountains of the beasts I was served. Had to fight for my life when the ice age occurred. When I emerged, covered in thick fur, my eyes turned cobalt and my vision got blurred. My woman I was hit with a stick, that was it. Didn't understand the hips and the sag of her tits. Then I became angry, the story gets grainy. My dominance mainly the result of neat and taming. Till that I'm aiming at a target that is flaming. Dominance, hierarchy, bourgeoisie, oligarchy. The art of being a failed copy of a carbon copy. Illuminated still lack the light of a Carminati. Dominance, hierarchy, bourgeoisie, oligarchy. The art of being a failed copy of a carbon copy. Illuminated still lack the light of a Carminati. Yo, somebody. Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check. Can you hear me now? 1, 2. 1, 2. All right. All right. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. You can hear me? All right. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Peace, Harper. Peace, Divine Rights. Peace, Tamara. Peace, GB Athletics. Peace, I think. Let me see. Cosmic Lion. We'll catch you on the replay. All right. Peace, Olin. Peace, Shauna. Peace, I am she. All right. Appreciate y'all coming in today. So y'all know what time it is. You know what we got going on in the sky. And I am fashionably late. But am I, or am I on time? You know? So we are still basking in the shadow, if you will, of the annular solar eclipse that occurred. Peace, Venus. That it occurred at 6:11 a.m. Central Standard Time this morning. and it was at 28 degrees and 50 minutes of Aquarius. And of course, that came right on the heels of the new moon, which happened just um, shortly before the actual time of the eclipse. So this is a solar eclipse, of course, which only occurs at a new moon, and it's a north node eclipse. So I always you always can get a little sense of relief when it's a north node eclipse. What is a north node eclipse really sig- um, signifying? It is telling you that there is a concentration of energy around the concept of destiny. And destiny is an ever shifting, amorphous thing. Destiny is not some one fixed. It's constantly evolving. And if astrology doesn't teach you anything, it's that we are constantly being shaped and um transformed and evolving into something. But if we try to have a fixed idea what that something is, we've already lost the game. The whole point of it is to continue to be shaped and to be striving towards this mythical perfection, you know, which you really don't want to reach, because to be perfect is to be dead, right? So the constant peace, divine chakras, to that pursuit is what life ultimately is, the pursuit. And it is constantly morphing and changing us. I'm gonna so I'm gonna as y'all come in, I'm gonna kind of tune out on the chat for a minute, because I tend to lose my train of thought when I so I was going somewhere about that. Oh, destiny. Destiny. So when there's a south node eclipse, I think the energy is a lot heavier, because I think from a literal perspective, we tend to see a lot more physical transition, as in death, people leaving, um, because we're being pulled away from a world that was, right? The North Node is we're being pushed to the world that is to be, that is to come. And I think North Node eclipses they're all heavy. All eclipses are heavy. And every time you are living and breathing through an eclipse window, you should always kind of take a moment and give thanks, because you have another opportunity to pursue the great pursuit of life. And the purpose of living is to discover the purpose of living. So every time you make it through another eclipse, you have continued opportunity to explore the purpose of living. Every time that the eclipse passes over, it carries a note of that biblical story of the Passover, right? We put the mark so that the energies will know that this is where protected energy lies, and this is not where to touch. So thus pass over. Now somebody, let me see here. What's interesting here is that although the South Node, we typically see more people go, you do have people just around eclipses, period. People tend to leave. And in addition to the eclipse, there's been a lot of energy with people leaving anyway, because of all of the energy that was in Pisces. you know, it's like a huge doorway has opened up where souls are in transit right now. Now, this morning, I saw somewhere online that it said Jesse Jackson transition today, um, which is interesting. Now, he's a Libra, October 8th, 41. He's a Libra. And it's interesting because what do we have? We have Saturn and Neptune in the opposite sign of where his vitality lies. So your sun sign is your vitality. It is your voltage. It is the energy that you are shooting out into the world. Um, so opposite that, I don't know where his moon is. I never tried to pull his chart. I don't know if his chart is online, but opposite his sign of vitality, we have Neptune and we have Saturn. And Saturn puts a halt to things, and Neptune breaks things down, makes them lose their tone. It dissolves. So, what's interesting, just for a moment, just touching on Jesse Jackson, very interesting figure, Jesse Jackson. Some of y'all may be new to my channel. If you're not, then you may remember I did a series called The Astrology of Black People. And one of the installments was 1987. And I broke it down about how of an impactful period that was, and how the next year Jesse Jackson ran for president. I remember all this because I was like a preteen at that time. I remember how we started using the term African American. And in that video, I broke down how Jesse Jackson was part of a committee who decided to rename this group of people African American, which was a continued process of assigning names to this group of people, which as time would go by, we would understand would be the denationalization of these people, the continued efforts to sever these people from actual ties to the land that we occupy. Now, at that period in our lives, though, we were very much enthralled in Afrocentricity. My father was a historian. Jesse Jackson from Greenville, South Carolina, which is just 50 minutes from where I'm from, right? So this was somebody from our area, and, we latched right on to the African American, but time is the litmus test of truth. Because if you give enough time, truth always gonna eke out. It's like water, it's like oil. When your vehicle starts getting older, that oil gonna find a way to seep out. Those gaskets wear down, and it's gonna start coming out, right? And so truth is like that. It's gonna eke its way out. But I'm not gonna go into a diatribe on that. If you have not seen that series, go back and watch the series, The Astrology of Black People, and go look at the installment 1987, and this will be an illuminating watch for you, especially as it surrounds Jesse Jackson and a very complex legacy that he leaves. Thank you, Shauna. Shauna said Moon and Taurus. So he is very much under the influence of Venus, which is interesting. Venus is preparing to form a star, has already formed a star point as it's preparing to move retrograde in the sign of its detriment in Scorpio this fall. And so this may even tie into Jesse Jackson about the fact that Venus is going to turn retrograde in Scorpio, if I remember correctly. I think when I looked, I saw its retrograde starts in Scorpio. opposite his moon. And so the title of this video is Solar Eclipse in Aquarius, Prelude to Destiny. I have no notes prepared for today, which I hate doing. I don't like going into conversations blindly, but I knew I had to have some type of discussion around this because I feel the great significance of this moment. And as I've talked about, of February, it has been February is a continuing growing energy. It escalates, and every time I look at it again, I see something that I missed, right? So today is but we spoke about this last broadcast that the eclipse was coming up, and I think I said I would come back on here and talk about it. Well, here it is. Today is a very significant day for me personally because it is 10 days before my son's birthday, but he was supposed to be born on the 17th. Back in 2016, we were really wanting to do the doula process for birth. So we were going to this birthing center in this rural area down here where we live. And we were working with these people and scraping up money to pay them and everything. And come to find out, this woman was a quack who we were working with. I think she was a racist. And I don't normally play that card. I don't, because when you delve in the world of magic and metaphysics, and you're supposed to have tools to rise above the obvious, right? But I'm only bringing it up for the sake of context here, because and it still is tying back to energy. If a person's energy if there's energetic issues, you don't want them around your food. You don't want them around your hair. You damn sure don't want them holding your life into balance, or the life of a soon to be or a newborn in balance. And that's why I'm bringing this up about not only was she racist, she was a nut. Her husband was a nut. They were money hungry, and she never wanted to acknowledge a mistake. And the great mistake she made was, my wife was in this agonizing pain, and she kept telling her, well, honey, you're just not, I'm sorry, I checked, you're just not dilated, but so we ended up, the pain got so substantial over that 10-day period that we had to go and make an emergency call, an audible, and we ended up having to go. We found a midwife group they were nurse practitioners, so they still had traditional medical training, but they had were using trying to merge the two, in other words, but they still were connected to the hospital. Thankfully, we got over there to the when it was time for her to go into labor. She was in excruciating pain. We get to the hospital. I'm watching on the monitor my son's heart rate dropping. And the ladies are never panicking. My wife's is a medical professional, so I know that they're trained to not show to the parents, or family when we're really in an emergent situation. But I knew, because I'm looking at the monitor and I know his heart rate keeps dropping. And so they came and kept doing things, and it was like very tense situation. So they had to do an emergency C-section, but hey, but he made it. He's here. And so today, the 17th, marks the day that he was actually supposed to technically enter the world as a 28-degree Aquarius. But spirit would have it, because even when you deal with somebody like that, it is still the operations of realms beyond. I'm going to tell you how you know. Because my great grandmother, whom I never met, who my mother tragically watched her die when she was in the 3rd grade. That woman named Hattie was born February 27th, 1912. So that means that by my son's birth being delayed on the human realm 10 days, it lined up with her solar return on 2/27, which meant that it connected his energy back to his great great grandmother, obviously bringing in energy to complete a circle and to complete some healing that needed to occur on my maternal side of my family. And this how this shit is. That's, when you in this realm, you make everything serve you. You make everything feed you. And we still are susceptible to human emotions, human disappointments, the frailties of humanity. But it's in these moments, like these little moments we have here, this shit is priceless, where we actually are stepping away from the matrix and we are expanding our minds. Make no doubt about it. This little thing, virtually, this is sacred, because we're taking the chance, we're utilizing the opportunity to explore the why. The real conspiracy of this reality is to keep you enthralled in the what. You ever notice how you go back and look at things? You go back and relook at cartoons that came on when you were a child, or shows you watched. Are you amazed at how you see these things now that you completely didn't recognize then? Even in your younger adulthood. You know why? Because this realm is programs us to be always in the moment, in the what, and to never be reflective, to step outside and really look. What is that commercial really saying? What is this movie where it programs us through multiple facets to never be observant of the reality, but to always be just in it, to be in it and to be of it. And so when we take the time to just critically analyze it, it is a form of taking on the mantle of the Almighty. You're taking on the mindset of the creator and not always just being the creation. Although we are both, we are creator and creation. We are not taught to be creator, to be creators, just always in the midst of the creation. Therefore, somebody's always working us on the potter wheel, and we never get a chance to get our hands dirty. I want to work with the clay, So that's just something that's just personally about this date that just hit me this morning as I was reflecting. It's like, oh, the date is the 17th. Everything works in your favor, especially when you're dancing on divine time. And so this eclipse today is a prelude to destiny. And it's a agitating energy around this eclipse. It is an anxious, um, unnerving sense of angst that is in the air. Why? Because this eclipse formed a square to transiting Uranus. Uranus at 27 and the eclipse was at 28. So internally, there's a sense of unease and the way that we are expressing ourselves, possibly there's a sense of unease. There's a sense of angst. There's a sense of something emerging, which is not all bad. We are in, there's this, we're feeling the prodding to go forth and to do something boldly because Uranus does not do things quietly. It doesn't do things subtly. It does things boldly, loud, and suddenly. So this is an energy of sudden change with this new moon and eclipse. It is the epitome of a fresh new start. It is a north node eclipse that is being pushed and urged and prodded by the aspect with Uranus. And the destiny that is calling shows itself more so in the fall of this year. Pay attention to the energies around right now, right? And the energies around right now show themselves to a greater extent in September. Starting in September, but especially in October. Look to that. Now, why am I saying that? Because the eclipse is at 28 or was at 28 of Aquarius. In let's see, in July or August. No. In July, the nodal eclipse will move to 29 degrees of Aquarius. So it will start radiating and triggering this eclipse point. Every moment in time is a birth. That's one of the gifts of astrology is it gives us the opportunity to take a cosmic snapshot of any moment. Any and every moment is a birth. So right now, this eclipse is a noted birthing station or birthing portal. And the degree gives us insight into where the portal is at. It's at 28 of Aquarius. So that when the North Node hits 29, then we use our reflective glasses to look back at where we were at that time of the eclipse and what we were initiating, because it's a new moon eclipse. There's all types of energy around boldly going forth. It's an eclipse that's triggered by Uranus in a square, boldly going forth. It is a last decan, not only last decan, last 3 degrees. So it is change is imminent. Although it's in a fixed signs, they are preparing to learn, to mutate, to grow, to change. A season's coming to its end. We've been watching it. We've been watching it, and this season has progressively been brought to its end just over the past few years. And now we are dealing with the in different segments. It's showing itself. It's over. It's a new one. Whether it was Pluto hitting zero of Aquarius, whether it was and then when Pluto made its final ingress into Aquarius, then when we had Neptune and Saturn make their first ingress into Aries, that was a little teaser. Now they are both permanently in Aries, I should say. And when I say permanently, I just mean they're not going to retrograde back into the previous sign. They are there for the duration of their transit in that sign. All these things are like, it's new. It's a new world. And they're at zero. Then when we get to the 20th, when they have their exact conjunction at 0 degrees, 45 minutes of Aries, that's another one. Like this week, this month continuously shows us that we're at the birthing station. And this eclipse is part of that. And the Uranus aspect is part of that, because it's forcing us to go. This is not any energy of looking back over your shoulder. And you know why? Because after this, then the energy really ramps up, because just a few days from now, you need to pay attention to this. The end of this month, the 27th, well, my son's birthday. On the 27th, Mars will get to 27 of Aquarius. And Mars at 27 of Aquarius will be in a square to Uranus. So let me tell you what happened. I've told this story before. We went to New Orleans about 3 years ago. We went down there to visit. So I drove. And it was during that time where we had that North Node, Mars, and Uranus were conjunct in Taurus. So while we were traveling, we had two very obvious and literal representations of the energy. Mars deals with combustion, so that would be, it deals with the engine, the combustive nature of it. So the combustion deals with gas. Uranus deals with sudden changes. While we're traveling, the truck starts sputtering. So what had happened was, somewhere along the way, I got some bad gas. And by the time we got in Louisiana, the truck was kind of sputtering. So I had to go to, it was O'Reilly's or Autos on one of them, and get some gas treatment, run out that bad gas, put some gas treatment in there, put some good, I only put premium in the truck, but let's just hope this was some good premium, and so there was one literal example of the planet of sudden change and disruption conjunct the planet of combustion, Mars. Well, Mars also rules over knives and blades, and Uranus deals with things suddenly happening. So while we're also on the same trip, it's raining. So the windshield wiper's going crazy. And if you can know anything about going to New Orleans, there's a ridiculously long highway you got to go over. I think it's Lake Pontchartrain, I think. And we're on that when one of the windshield wipers suddenly snaps in half in the rain. So here you have two direct, literal representations of the energy that happened. Well, that was a conjunction. This is a square. Okay. And so this is an energy where we can feel like we're at our breaking point. This is where you got to hunker down. You've already see the eclipse has already given you indication of where north is. Excuse me. It's a north node eclipse. This is where north is. This is where you're going. We're not disregarding where we've been. We're bringing that with us, those experiences. We're taking those with us, but grab your stuff. This is where we're going. You've already been given your directions. So when Mars comes, you must have the mental and intestinal fortitude to not fold and snap and break and run the risk of forfeiting destiny. And you cannot allow things that may break, whether it's literally or figuratively, to derail you from your movement towards destiny. Now, the good thing about Mars and Uranus, if we can call this a good thing, is that we naturally have the propensity to respond to an emergent situation. Somebody who in their chart, some child or children are going to be born under this aspect. So do we just say, oh man, this is going to be a group of nuts coming in? No, because you know who these children are the people who you want working in your emergency room at your hospital. These are people you want working for the fire department. These are people you want, these are your athletes you want, right? These are people who you want to lead a revolution. Why? Because they internally feel the burning for change and to fight against the status quo. That Mars square Uranus is a natural energy for fighting against the status quo, for going against the grain. And if you can channel that energy the right way and not waste it on foolish, immature things that we waste our energy in, you're going to be something going to come and trigger you to want to get mad, get angry, to want to snap. This is snap energy. Now, it also brings the question financial things. It's another thing you want to be mindful of, finances. But either way, right now, you've been given your directive. Your ticket has been stamped. And all those planets that are in Aquarius, they all had to pass through Pluto. Just look at it. Now, that whole Aquarian traffic now has had to pass through Uranus. This is the last one. This is Mars. It's almost like another little test, like, oh, let's see if this'll make them snap. And we got other things going on, but those are big ones. So don't cower. No. It's not a cowering energy. It is don't be a fool. This is what this energy is. Don't be a fool. So that's what you're looking towards the end of this month, which look where we at. We still kind of in that eclipse window. We're still working with this eclipse window, and let us not forget that Mercury is still in its shadow right now. So Mercury is sitting there, and everything's being observed. Everything's being observed that we're doing. Every step we're taking right now is part of data that we will have to go back over and revisit. And of course, Mercury is in Pisces, which is like taking a radio and throwing it into some bath water, you know. So there's a lot of things that are challenging. It's a lot of challenging shit going on right now. But we got to figure out, like I said in the last broadcast, what is everybody bringing to the table? What is Mercury bringing to the Pisces experience when it's in its detriment in Pisces? How can it be of help? Okay. Well, it can help us by getting ourselves in order. It can help us start, what does Virgo bring? That sifting through, that ability to assess things. What about that? Ask questions, to invite a little bit of how into the grand vision, because Pisces is the experience of the divine, but then the Mercury pulling that Virgo energy kind of, well, how are we gonna incorporate this? I'm not trying to overstep my boundaries. I just want to help you. And that's so we can marry all of these energies in our own constitution, right? Then it kind of helps us mitigate all of this strong energy. Intuition, how to move in harmony with your intuition, and how for your intuition to harmonize with your intellect, because you need both. You need both. We are living in the time where you must be about the Hieros Gamos, which is the holy marriage, the marriage between feminine and masculine. And feminine is in everyone, just like masculine is in everyone. Feminine and female are two different things, just like masculine and male are two different things. Within females, you must marry your feminine and masculine. Within males, you must marry your feminine and masculine. You must know how to dance with both of them at the same time and not be out of step. And that is what we call magic. Because when you do that, that is powerful. Okay, what else did what else I want to talk about here? Moon. Okay. Health-wise, with so much energy now preparing to move through Pisces, there's we do know that flu B is really going around, especially with children. And there's a lot of other things simmering. They're talking about variants and all this other stuff. Okay, let's talk about energetically. First and foremost, I'm not a doctor. I don't give medical advice. I just share personal information, and that's it. With that said, so when you're dealing with the energy of Pisces, you're dealing with a focus on the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system is significant because this is where we have our toy soldiers. Let's use that analogy. Toy soldiers. And they go out and fight on our behalf, where we have those things called helper T cells, white blood cells that go and fight off invaders. Pisces brings that to the fore. And with Mercury and Pisces, it places a significance on B vitamins, because Mercury rules over the B vitamins. Although it does not individually rule over them, it only rules over thiamine. But the whole, as B vitamins as a whole, as a collective, Mercury rules over them. Now, Um, B vitamins are significant because they have a lot to do with digestion, right? And Mercury rules over the liver, Mercury rules over the gallbladder, and Mercury rules over the small intestine. All three of these are key in digestion. They are working together to break down what you take in. All right. Now, vitamin D is very significant going back to the lymphatic system. Now, vitamin D is ruled by the sun. All right. Because it is sunlight that triggers through the skin, tells our body to produce the vitamin D hormone. Right. Now, but here's the deal. Vitamin D is necessary for the absorption of calcium. Okay. Now, all this stuff they all connect. Calcium is ruled by Saturn. What season are we in? We at the tail end of Aquarius, which is ruled traditionally by Saturn, which is when we have the sun in its detriment. All right. And this is peak season for sickness. So the vitamin D is needed to absorb, the sun is needed to absorb Saturn, calcium. Saturn also rules vitamin C, which is very essential right now as well. But let's deal with the vitamin D. It absorbs the calcium. It helps the body absorb the calcium. Now, we don't want calcium running rampant. So this is why we need something to tell the calcium where to go. And that's where vitamin K comes in. And this is why it is of the utmost importance for your family to be taking what's called the ADEX. That's a shorthand for vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. K is potassium. Because and those are called fat soluble vitamins. So that means you need to have adequate, healthy fats for them to work. This is why good, people have their different choices about how they eat, but, I'm going to say good animal fat, also omega-3s. Everything is feeding on everything else. And what you're figuring out is what's everybody's role in this picture. Now, Mars, which is going to be squaring Uranus soon, rules over fatty acids. So that's going to be very key at the end of this month. It's going to put a significance on fatty acids, which we already need to be, and not just any, but omega-3 fatty acids. Okay. Because Mars squaring Uranus can place stress on the heart, because Uranus is dealing with some of the circulatory processes. Some people call the lower legs the second heart. That's Uranus ruled. The ability of the blood to travel from the heart to farthest away, Aquarius, to the legs. This Aquarius detriment, of the sun. So that's important. So ADEX review. That's D. That's vitamin A, D, E, and K. Vitamin E, also ruled by Venus, is antiviral. Vitamin E is not just for having, bouncing hair and glowing skin. It's also antiviral. So those, vitamin C, of course, is quite essential, very essential, especially right now. Omega-3 fatty acids. And so these are just things to think about. And this is part of the value of taking astrology from the level of just studying it to know, why is your love life going the way it is? Or, when is my windfall coming, to like, what's my natural predisposition for wellness, You know, what things promoted? What things am I prone to be deficient in, right? Um, things of that nature that you can get clarity on by learning to look at. And I mean, I'm not telling you just from speculation. It's real deal. And this is where we're coming from because these institutions are starting to fall back. If we ain't recognizing, they're starting to fall off. And so while we waste time worrying about some files, worrying about somebody's missing mama, and a lot of this stuff is 9 times out of 10, 12 times out of 9, put it that way. Theater. Theater to keep us enthralled and and your life's going to shambles, but you're like, we want to know what's in the files. Whose name? Like, you know, when you maybe should just be thinking about, let me just make sure I can do what's best to protect my children. Because what is happening is the baton is being handed over to humanity. You're going to have to figure out your own issues. Now, you can waste your time and try to keep going the way you were programmed to think, the way you were programmed to fight. We're not going to take it. We're going to go and protest. We're going to go and march. All this stuff that you were given. How can the same entity that you have issue with give you the tools to go against it? Think about it. Think about it. So your time would be better spent figuring out how to protect yourself. And the thing is, you still have means if you're willing to. First of all, I'm gonna say this word. It's almost like this word is almost like saying I worship Lucifer. The word read. Some people, when you use the word read, is almost like putting up a cross to a vampire. Oh, read. No, I can't read. No, tell it to me. Give me a video. You show me do it. Show me how to do it. Do it for me. Read. People don't want to read. So you still have the opportunity to learn a lot of things and figure out a lot of things if you're willing just to dedicate yourself. And don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. Invest money in things that yield value. Stop wasting your money spending it with people who are telling you that there's some get rich quick scheme, or you're going to be a master at this in a weekend, or I'm going to open this up for you. And so the reason that you get got by stuff like that is because you still have a mentality where you worship people. You worship people. And here go another one for you that's going to be upsetting. There's no such thing as a healer. Don't exist. Does not exist. That whole statement of I'm a healer, that's ego. You can't heal nobody and nobody can heal you. You know what the real way that it should be stated? Facilitator of healing. Do you know what the whole Christ story was about? It was not about people going to worship anything. It was about you waking up the healer inside of you. The whole story about Jesus healing is not about a man. It's telling you of the potential that lies within the human reality for man to heal itself. So can't nobody heal you, including me. I'm not a healer. And nobody else is. You can facilitate, meaning you can remind people of what lies within them. You can be a helpmate or a helpmeet by saying, take this. This might help you. Or here's a clue that you're experiencing this. Well, such and such says that you had a propensity towards inflammation naturally because such and such was in an angular relationship to each other. Or these things your body naturally absorbs well. Now you go and such. That's called facilitating healing. There ain't no healers. Okay, I want to say that. So the point of this is this eclipse is helping us to come to the realization of where we are supposed to be moving, because it is a setup for the North Node coming into Aquarius. And what do we say? Aquarius is the sign of the people. But Aquarius is not about following. It's about a space for everyone to be who they are, as long as they're not injuring the collective. And that is why Aquarius is the reception of the love. You're receiving your own love in Aquarius, meaning that there's a place for you to be you. For your individuality to flourish. Time is out for the leaders. Time is out for being stupid. Aquarius is an energy of knowledge, of gnosis. So where does your internal GPS tell you to go? That's what it's about. Now, over here, what I try to do is, and I mess up my money because I could make good money if I could take on the banner of people's leader. Because people be, and not saying y'all who in here, but there's a lot of people who looking to be led. Trust me, you know. What I try to do though is say, I got some information that I can share with you for you to go back and utilize it for yourself. Even swap, no swindle, right? You know, and so I create tools. I create my learning pack that I send out. I write books, which, as a matter of fact, I don't hardly ever mention. You know, I do have, one being The Layman's Guide to Manifestation. Very practical, little short book, very practical, but real information, hardly never promote it. But I do have that available on my website. I have my class coming up Sunday, this coming Sunday. I think it's the 22nd, Intro to Medical Astrology, and you get tangible things that you're going to get immediately when you sign up. You get something tangible that you can print out and keep. And then we actually walk through that thing in the class. That's my approach, and so being a person who was born under the operating system of Aquarius, I am reflecting back to 19 years ago, right before my oldest child was born, when we were at this point, when the eclipse, the North Node was moving into Aquarius. And I want you to do the same. If you're old enough, I want you to go back and I want you to reflect on 2007. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it was 2007. When the 2007, it was late December 2007, January 2008. Yeah. So it was after she was born. Okay.
She is March of, oh yeah, North Node's in Pisces. Okay. Oh yeah. She's having her nodal. Okay, I remember. I just told her that. So yeah, I want you to reflect back to 2008. Now you remember in 2008, um, the North Node moved into Aquarius, and also Pluto moved into Capricorn that year. Um, so that's something else to reflect back on. I mean, wow, we had Jupiter, we had Saturn. Oh no, Jupiter was in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn. But just go back and think that over. Go back and reflect on that. 19 years back, because when the nodes hit 29 at the end of July, it will be a nodal return for where we were um back in 2008. And I have vivid memories of what I was doing back then and what I was on the cusp of. Okay, what else did I want to talk about? Now, the aspects I need to highlight. Venus is in, well, on uh a less this is a time of love too. You know, Venus is at 8 degrees of Pisces. Am I correct? Let me make sure. Am I looking at the, yeah, Venus is conjunct the North Node. So you may find yourself very romantically inclined right now, which is something else to be mindful of, and be kind of careful, because decisions you're making now are happening while Mercury's in its shadow, and maybe things that we go back and revisit. So we got to make sure we're not caught up with the rose colored glasses on right now, with Venus at 8 of Pisces and applying to the North Node. But at the same time, Venus is a collective ruler of your money house in your chart, which the second house. Venus is a collective ruler of the second house. Whatever sign you got on your second house in your chart, that's the individual ruler. But Venus rules over Venus builds things. Jupiter is like the final result of what has been built. It's like Venus is sugar, and if sugar sits too long, it becomes what? Fat. That's Jupiter. So think of, this is the energy of Venus is in its exaltation, and money wise, financially, is there a dream that you need to pursue? And you think of this along with the fact that we're in this new moon eclipse energy. You may be walking away from something. You may be walking away from some old money into some new money. You may be walking away from an old relationship into a new relationship. So I want to make sure I add that in. But again, this is the dance between your intuition and your intellect. Don't forget that. This is also an excellent time. I've even backed off of using the word manifestation, because the word's been almost sullied on the internet. But if we're going to use the word, this is an excellent time, because Mercury is in a trine to Jupiter. The student and the teacher are aligned. The perception and the perspective are aligned. the immediate details and the long range vision are aligned. Now, there's challenges because Mercury's in Pisces, right? But if we can tap into that intuitive mind, if we can tap into the pool of undifferentiated energy and it's there, whatever we're looking for. Here's the thing about Mercury struggles in Pisces from a 3D intellectual standpoint, but it flourishes from a feminine, mystical, occult standpoint, because anything you want to know, it's in the pool. You just got to swim to it. Anything you're looking for is in the pool. And it's in harmony with Jupiter right now. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Even in the midst of all the other difficulties we got, nothing's ever completely sweet and nothing's ever completely sour, right? We just got to figure out how to dance with it. So I'm going to conclude. Reminder, my class is Sunday. There's still room for if a couple more people want to join in. You see the ticker at the bottom. Info is also in the description box. It's going to be a small, little intimate class, and I'll be able to share things that I can't and won't share here on the open internet. Also, if you are needing to have a private conversation, look at your chart, holler at me. Natal chart, transit. If you want to see what the rest of the year holds for you, if you want to look at your chart, if you got some issues, physically that you need to get some insight in, we can look at your health astrology chart. What else we got going on? I'm gonna hold off on it because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna make an announcement on the circle of life. We got some things. I'm not gonna be premature, but we'll stop there. 720astrology.com is where you need to go. Thank you, Divine Chakras. Y'all go check out her channel, Divine Chakras. Thank you, sis. Had a good time speaking with her. She came and booked a reading with me. Very intelligent young lady. Oh, thank you, Shauna. Rick said, Jamal, would you be open to building an educational program in astrology for a new network? Well, I never say never, but I'm open to, conversation, and what I can and can't do, I can, we can, get into that depending on what's what. So I'm at least open to, I got a lot of irons in the fire right now. I will say that though. And y'all will be hearing more about what's going on with all that. But I'm open to conversation. With that said, as always, know the stars to know yourself. That tagline is me basically paying homage to all right, that's what's up, Harper. Harper says she just subscribed to Divine Chakras. Y'all go and subscribe to my well, no, I'm gonna wait on that. I'm gonna wait. See, I'm gonna wait. But that know the stars to know yourself is paying homage to the ancient saying of man, know thyself. And when we look up, we are looking at a mirror image of ourselves. And if we ever get lost down here, we can always look up at that mirror up there. and see ourselves. So know the stars to know yourself. And of course, stay down till you get up. And when you get up, stay down. Thank y'all again for tuning in. Peace and power. Y'all want to close out with some music? Let me know in the chat if y'all want to close out with something. I'm not gonna force it upon the listeners. When I used to do our late night Fridays, sometimes we would. Oh, thank you, Tamara. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the revolution. Shauna said, "Okay, all right, that's one." Let's see. We'll play something here going out. Once again, I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay powerful.
Want me to lose my balance like I feeling like Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. They want me to lose my balance like I got vertigo. It's vertical that I go to, but touch the cervical. Spine, my mind, oh my, better than apple pie. A Mac systems, the word catch rhythm. Spaz out when flutes play, empty space fill them with bars that fragment like glass prisms. If they want the game, here's some fair, go and get them. But I promise you the tongue is a sword, might split them. Infuse the source in you with the first breath blue. There's fire in my shoes on top of my head too. It can warm, it can light or burn, it's up to you. The book's red like oxidized iron, the crook's blade. The blade pointed, pencil in hand, the beast fed. The bull stops here, I grip horns and get ahead. Left the carcass in the mountains of the Caucasus. The consequences of dabbling in metropolises. The city's opposites live the life of opulence, while the chosen, the few, is rather obvious when flutes play. When flutes play. Yeah. When flutes play, they say the feet move like Pele. Sharp knife fillet. When the words spit finay. When flutes play, they say the feet move like Pele. Sharp knife fillet. When the words spit finay. You may ask, Jamal, why you speaking such coded metaphor? My reply so I can let hot air pass like a matador. My math's a cure for the unaccounted for, pure, who lost the jewel but confined to fraudulent sewers. The smell is hell, but you be amazed what manure can spark life in. When the odds ain't right, then seed still finds miraculous ways to grow at night. Sin is the move of primal ocean. Set round 80 BPM so I can go in. Fire hit, water smoking. Every word spoken is a token to mend what has been broken. The flute melody floating. Something bubbling in the pot, lethal potion. Sniff, get a whiff, it's a gift. Him most high, most fly, most shy. I am that I am with a clear eye. The word. In certain Hindu teachings, it's said that we are bound to the wheel of reincarnation or the wheel of samsara until we achieve enlightenment, the realization and cultivation of the inner light. And that's the way out of here. That's the only train home. So as it applies to the dominance hierarchy, we always think that their motives are to make more money, but that ain't the case. The money only matters for peasants, commoners. The true goal of the dominance hierarchy is to keep souls trapped here. For what, you may ask? To be their food. Under the utmost compression, subtle forces gather, linear time testing. Dormer for the elect, for others karma pressing. The law is impeccable, above it some professing. Foolish the mortal's lessons still seem as necessary. In what is he investing? Some in the status of an outdated atlas. Feet slip trying to scale a slope up in Aspen. Aspiration for the asthmatic Adam Cadman. Arm, leg, arm, head, who's the captain? The ship or the vessel, the head where the feet trail. When the last breath is took, the way up is entrails. Heart versus feather, forever versus never. The iron soft mind coughs your hot stormy weather. Peace be still, every word as a shield. The arrow point sharp so every syllable you feel. Visible to the visionaries, heard in every monastery. Flow like a tributary, the tried and true, the gnosis knows the commentary. Concomitant to the Candlemas in February. The hero bows his back, although the road ahead is scary. The journey lingers, the wounds deeper. Transition from light bearer to light bringer. For everything under the sun, there's a season. For every cause, there is effect and a reason. Fine resin left behind from halal bleeding. Fresh manna, pure water, air and lungs breathing. Flesh tanner, sure order, stare at the heathen. No banner, quiet manner, this trip I'm leaving. Ascension, attention, cycle of the gleaning. No psilocybin, these sober bars you're reading. No simple babble, I beg your pardon, I'm cleaving. To the rock the temple was built upon an evening. Before the day broke and the word spoke, a thought approach. Ancient fire hidden in inner worlds and the opal brooch. From plainest tire wisdom enfolds like a gospel note. The arc of Sothis carry souls onward to a new abode. The darker night is where it shows the truth is that the gnosis knows. The darker night is where it shows the truth is that the gnosis knows. Knows. I know.